For the most part. Not everybody. Man, when my memoirs come out, I am going to blow some people up.
Going to expose some people,
Listen, there were some dicks out there. But no, honestly, all jokes aside, a vast majority of the guys are guys just like us. And they come up and they it doesn't matter who you are. They come up and dab you, give you the bro hug, whatever the case may be. And that's what's cool about it. I mean, on a day like today, Flannel, who's kidding who? It's about the fun. Hopefully the weather stays nice. It's kind of spitting a little bit out there, but it's all about the good time and the camaraderie and Mac helping people out like Mac is apt to do.
Yeah, he's just that kind of a dude. And we got Spenmo Rex in the building today. How are you feeling today? Aren't you going out of town straight from here pretty much?
I am, yeah. I'm going out of town, going up towards Gaylord. My friend's got a cabin up there, so we're going to go up there and have a good time for the weekend.
Hey, and a good time for Spenny. That is something that you all probably wish that you were a part of. I certainly do, too.
I got a half-gallon of Casamigos from Stick's wedding still at the house, so I'm going to take that up. Yeah,
what city? Do you mind me asking? I'm near Gaylord.
It's Frederick.
I know exactly where Frederick is.
Yeah,
I shot my first deer in Waters.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Nice. Yeah,
Notice how I said first deer.
Deer.
My first deer.
I've never been hunting before. I really want to go, but my friend has this cabin that his grandma used to own it, and it used to be a German restaurant right on the highway. But then when they opened the freeway, the expressway, it kind of cut down on traffic, so it's not a restaurant anymore. It's just a cabin that they have in their family. It's called Haus Bambi. So, yeah, I'm excited to go up there.
Brilliant.
It's always a good time.
Oh, man, that does sound like a great time. KG, you're in for the long haul today, as am I. You hanging in there, man?
You know how this goes, man.
Absolutely.
But we are living in wild times if we have to be nice to you today. Yeah. I'm just going to be real with you.
True.
It's wild times. You got Omago with game winners. You got Kenta Maeda not giving up earned runs. What is going on, bro?
It certainly is bizarro world. And while we're on that topic, because I know there's probably more substantive Tigers things to talk about in the upcoming segments, but they got themselves a nice little home sweep over the Seattle Mariners. I mean, and I'll tell you what, too, this is just kind of a selfish thing. I am so glad that the Tigers are going to play a big role in knocking the Seattle Mariners out of the playoffs because, and you guys know why, who have been with me for a long time. The Seattle Mariners are going to rue the day that they didn't overpay for Mark Canha, that they didn't offer something better than the San Francisco Giants could have, because Mark Canha is the type of dude that could have been a difference on the Seattle team. Maybe he would have been a difference on a Game 2, maybe Game 3. I don't know, but Mark Canha is just that high on-base percentage guy that the Seattle Mariners desperately needed, but they didn't make the offer. So, sucks to suck, Seattle.
Listen, Seattle's playing for their playoff existence, too. So let's not, just dismiss it. Listen, I've said this for weeks. I'm going to say it again. The whole year away from being a year away bit is just incredibly bothersome. But it's a little bit easier when you can see some of those pieces that allegedly are going to be part of the year away from a year away. And we're on the cusp of that. And that's something to be excited about, man.
Well, the great part about this three-game sweep is there was a bit of a combination of both because Kerry Carpenter coming back from injury, you know that I was as excited as could be about that. He's had himself a hell of a season, a 953 OPS throughout the year, comes back in his first game, 2 home runs. In Game 2, he hits the game-tying home run in the 8th inning. You saw Tarek Skubal pitch 6 innings, 1 earned. You saw Parker Meadows come up with a couple of he got on base in order to lead to Kerry Carpenter hitting the game-winning 2-run. It was Javi Baez hitting the game-winning 2-run home run in Game 3. But speaking of Javi Baez, this series was also proof that baseball is kind of stupid. And I love baseball. I love baseball. But in Game 2, the game-winning hit was Akil Baddoo.
Yeah.
In Game 3, the game-winning home run, the only offense was Javi Baez.
Yeah.
And then in Game 2, who was the hero of the bullpen day? Brian Sammons.
Yeah.
In Game 3, it was circa 2024 Kenta Maeda.
Oh, yeah.
So you've seen some things, like you said, Sean, with Kerry Carpenter, with Skubal, with Parker Meadows, that you can really hang on to and be like, man, maybe sign of things to come. But then it's like, Javi Baez having a big hit, Akil Baddoo, what the F are we even doing? I want those guys, I can say that I want those guys shot to the sun, but nice hit.
Yeah.
Baseball's a funny
and they
game.
rewarded Javi by calling up his replacement.
Yeah.
It's amazing how that works out, isn't it? My question with Baddoo is there like unlimited passes to just jettisoned back and forth.
I don't know.
It is unbelievable. And I know we've joked about it before, but you see people talking him up, and it blows my mind. It's like, what more do you need to see?
Yeah.
I mean, this guy, coochie coo, all that stuff, and he is not part of a year away from a year away. He just isn't. He's not part of that conversation, and I think people almost want to will him into part of that conversation. And certainly with what happened in Game 2 of the series, that doesn't help my cause.
No.
Hey, the kid sells jerseys, Sean.
He does.
He does.
Likable guy, man.
Yeah.
Whatever you.
What is he doing in my car?
I don't get it. I really, for the life of me, I don't get it. But I still blame my boy Chris Butzlaff. I've known Chris for many years, but the way he calls his name and everything, it's made him kind of a fan favorite and all that. So no diss, Chris. You know that.
No, and Akil Baddoo should not
No
be.
Cleat Thomas.
he should not be a fan favorite of anything. He did have a pretty nice rookie season, but this year it's just been it's been terrible. The one thing that I really don't like to see, and thank goodness that I haven't been seeing it too much, is this is not a time to victory lap over Javi Baez or Akil Baddoo.
Back.
It's time to say nice hit, but still go far away from Detroit as humanly possible.
I don't know, Flannel. Javi's on a heater. He's got that OPS over 500 for the season.
Oh, the great 529 OPS.
Yes, sir.
Hey, it was like 460 at some point. At one point, he was the worst player ever. Now he's just the worst player in the current Major League Baseball.
100 points higher.
Levels, man, levels.
Listen, I think we're all guilty of this in a certain regard. Some of us more than others. But we're so desirous of having a legitimate baseball team again that what we do, okay, all of us in one way, shape, or form, like I'm not calling you out, I'm guilty of it sometimes as well, is you take that small sample size and you try to make it speak for the large. Mm-hmm. There's a reason why cumulative averages are kept, right?
Yes.
And it doesn't lie. And you're going to have your moments. You're a major leaguer. But at the end of the day, more often than not, the stat line isn't going to lie because that's, again, a cumulative average of what you're doing. But, we've gotten to this point now, and especially with people that dig their heels in. And we all know somebody like that, whether it be, oh, he loves Baddoo, he can't let it go. He loves Baez, he can't let it go. And you know what happens? I call them C moments. See? What do you have to say now? So do you really want Baez out of here when you saw what happened in one at bat? And it's like you want to pull your hair out of your freaking head because it's like, dude, that's awesome. Both things can be true. Great at bat, he won the game, he's awful. Both things can be true.
Well, that's the exact reason why I said baseball is stupid. I'm not saying it to dismiss one of the greatest games ever invented. I'm talking about the fact that on any given day, even if you're Javi Baez, even if you're Akil Baddoo, because it's such a long season, because even the worst players get, 70, 80 hits a season at worst, there's going to be a day or two or 3 or 4 in which Javi Baez looks like one of the best players in the MLB on one given day. And if you see it on that given day, you're like, maybe we got something. Maybe that's why it is the ultimate game of large sample sizes.
Amen.
You can still look at those OPSs and see that there's a 5 in front of them and want to puke, while also being like, nice win. And that's kind of, in a lot of ways, a microcosm of the season.
Do you remember that bum, Mark Burley?
Yeah.
Mark Burley pitched a perfect game, for goodness sake.
Sure did.
I mean,
him back.
that's right.
Bring him
That's what I'm talking about. There's a reason you're in the majors. You obviously have to have some ability, but not everybody, most people are going to have big moments. At the end of the day, it's what that stat line looks like, and that's why a guy like Mark Burley, a couple of years after having an absolute gem, doesn't have a job in the league.
He's pretty good, though. He was a pretty good pitcher.
He was bad.
I wouldn't say Mark Burley's bad.
We can look up those numbers if you'd like, but
Flannel said bring him home.
He wasn't good.
Who was the guy that had the perfect game for the A's on Mother's Day and then just fell?
The redhead dude.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. What was his name?
I can't remember his name.
I could do redhead, a long redhead.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. I could see his face. I can't think of his name. And then I think he got in the media for a little while as well. I think he was doing some stuff for MLB.
Speaking of media and MLB, hey, Ben Verlander, you can lick my nuts, buddy, because these prospects that the Tigers traded for have been raking. These
Yeah.
guys, Lorenzo has been raking. Obviously, they called up Trey Sweeney. We're going to be getting into that soon, but like. It just pisses me off. I got so pissed off with Ben Verlander.
Yeah.
How many at-bats do you think he watched from Lorenzo this year? I don't watch minor league baseball, so I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know these guys are good or not. But when I hear guys like Rogelio Castillo, who eats, sleeps, drinks, and breathes minor league baseball, say that this guy might be pretty good, I'm going to believe him.
Yeah.
When I see Scott Harris, a guy who it's his damn job to go out and get these guys, I'm going to believe him over
Talk
Ben
your shit, bro.
Verlander, who is just in the media because his brother was good at baseball. Like, at least watch an at-bat from this guy before you just say, oh, Tigers suck, these guys suck, they're not going to do anything. Well, they both had over 1,000 OPS since joining the organization. So, like, come on, man.
Yep.
Hey, a little more on one of those guys coming up in the next segment because he is coming to a ballpark near you tonight. So that is certainly exciting to watch. But yeah, I agree 100%, Spenny. And I said it yesterday.
Dallas Braden.
Dallas Braden.
Yeah,
All right,
hold
yep.
it up. Yeah.
That's I remember that name now. I've said it before on yesterday's show, and I'll say it again. It wasn't just Ben Verlander. When Tom Mazaway, our very own Tom Mazaway, who I'm going to see later,
Shout out
so if you want to have me on
trade.
if you want to see me on E&E later, we can have that conversation.
You're on E&E too?
No, I'm going to be around. So
I'm gonna be around.
if he's here and wants to have this conversation, I'll have it. When he called the trade deadline an F for the Tigers before even seeing Trey Sweeney or Tyrone Lorenzo playing one game in the Tigers organization, that was among the most emotional, reactionary things I've ever heard in my life. Shout out Maz, love the guy, but it's those type of reactions that make you want him to eat some crow so badly. And so far, you might see the fruits of it in the major leagues.
He said keep Flaherty as well. So
Well, that wouldn't have done us any good this year. But you know what will do us good anywhere, anytime, anywhere? Maybe not so much me, but these guys over there certainly.
Damn right.
Dispo. How would you like $10 of free products from Dispo Dispensary? Screenshot this image with a QR code and bring it into any Dispo location, and you'll get a free $10 to spend in store with a minimum purchase of $25. Visit Dispo Dispensary today or disposhops.com. Dispo Dispensary, your local cannabis plug.
To any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week, walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports. Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Sports merch available for football season. Go to shop.woodwardsports.com. We got everything you need. We got the Boo Them Kids shirts, Stoke Not Scared, a Darren McCarty original, and all the good stuff. Make sure you guys go to shop.woodwardsports.com to gear up for Lions season.
Hey, welcome back to Big D Energy Live on the Woodward Sports Network, and we had some conversations about the Tigers and their sweep. We got some stuff off our chest to most notably Ben Verlander and Tom Mazaway as well, but there's also some really big news with the Detroit Tigers, something that could impact the future and maybe even a little bit of the present, which is very exciting. Former first-round draft pick for the Detroit Tigers, Jace Young and Trey Sweeney, who was acquired in the Jack Flaherty trade, are both being called up to the big leagues. They are going to be in Detroit tonight for their game against the New York Yankees. So, Sean, at the very least, doesn't this make the Tigers a more exciting watch just to see guys of the future that we all know this year's pretty much a wash, but the next couple, maybe these are guys that are going to be there when the Tigers are ready to win.
I'll go back to the same line. Now we get a pretty good look at, are we really a year away from being a year away? Yep. and that really, I mean, that's been the bit for 8 years now. Okay, don't worry, we're a year away from being a year away. The difference, however, is right now you are actually seeing some of the pieces, okay? For me, in the previous era, and what made me pull hair out of my head is you heard about these pieces, but you never saw them. And then when you saw them, I was left to kind of sit there and cross my arms and go, is that it? So Daz Cameron, I've heard his name for 2 years. This is it? Kristen Stewart, I've heard his name for 2 years. Is this it? So the fact that we get to see multiple pieces right now is huge. And some of these pieces, like we talk about, keep everything in perspective. There are going to be some highs. There are going to be some lows. You expect that from young players. But, yes, it is exciting to me to see what these guys do down the stretch.
Well, in the case of Trey Sweeney, I'm going to start with him because I alluded to it in segment number 1. You're going to get a good look. You might see the fruits of the Jack Flaherty trade at the major league level already. At the absolute worst, there is no way that Trey Sweeney can be any worse than Javi Baez, Zach McKinstry, and Ryan Kreidler.
Yep. That's true.
I would like, and what he's done in AAA ever since he got traded was having over 1,100 OPS in the minors. So he has certainly earned a spot. He's earned a call-up at a position in which the Tigers have had one of the worst shortstop groups I've ever seen in the history of baseball, any level, quite frankly. So I love to see that. And with Jace Young, I don't understand what took so long. His bat is certainly what appears to be major league ready. I know people say he can't play third base, but for a long time I've just been like, who gives a damn? Would you rather watch Jace Young or Gio Urshela or Zach McKinstry? I already know the question to that. Because that guy, I've seen it. You know I love this. The guy has a really high walk rate. He's got good OPS numbers. His average maybe leaves a little bit to be desired, but I don't care about that as much as some. I want to see him in the major leagues, and I want to see a lineup of some of the youths. I want to see a lineup in which you got Kerry Carpenter, Riley Green, Jace Young, Trey Sweeney, Dylan Dingler, Parker Meadows, Justin Henry Malloy. I mean, I get it. The Tigers aren't going anywhere, but who doesn't want to watch that lineup? Spenny KG, right?
I'm with it.
Yeah, you for sure want to see the young guys. I want to see. I also said I wouldn't be surprised if Trey Sweeney hits one out in his first series. Ooh. You look at a kid, he's got some pop. He's got, I think, 15 or 16 homers in AAA this year. They're going to be pumping fastballs towards him because he's a new guy, fresh out of AAA. I could see him lean into one and hit one over the fence.
I want to see it against the Yankees. No disrespect to the Seattle Mariners, and I get it. The Yankees were off to that torrid, hot pace early, and they've come back down to earth. But there's still a big difference between where the Mariners are at and where the Yankees are at. Yes, I want to see it. It's the Yankees. I do think it counts for something. I'm with you. I know there are still some people out there that you're only 7.5 back of the wild card. I hate that stuff. Honestly, I think what the new wild card has done is a lot like what the NFL has done. It has sold hope. Yep. The NFL sells hope with the extra playoff game. And there's nothing wrong with that because there are teams that sit back and normally in mid-December, and Lord knows we know about that in the past, you're already looking at, okay, where's our draft position? Ooh, who can I be looking at 4 months from now for the draft? The extra playoff has allowed teams in multiple markets to say, we got a chance at getting in the playoffs. And I think it's done the same thing for baseball, but it's to me, it's very misleading in baseball because it's not just the teams ahead of you, but what do I have faith in? This team that I've watched for 110 games or the number 7.5? Right? I'm sorry. I don't want to have faith in 7.5 back. I want to have faith in the team that I'm watching. And this team hasn't allowed us to create a whole hell of a lot of faith.
KG.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about the potential of that lineup that I gave you of just a lot of young guys, a lot of young promising guys who are not just young promising. Riley Green's been an all-star. Kerry Carpenter is a 900 OPS guy this season. How would you feel about that lineup that I gave you before Spenny talked?
No, this is what I want to see. This is the mission that they are on. They are committed to the youth, and this is why people need to get out of what you said, Sean, the wild card, the eye candy, the gander. I know it looks like it's so achievable, but they've dug themselves quite a bit of a hole, and it's going to be very, very difficult to get out of it at this point. But I'm looking forward to what Scott Harris has brought to this team. He's supposed to be this great talent evaluator, so that's what I want to see, man. I want to see these young guys get out here and not have to wait for the Daz Camerons of the world, like you said, and actually see the fruits of the labor of the trade, and see what this core can look like going forward.
And if you've got Trey Sweeney and Justin Henry Malloy getting significant at-bats down the stretch, which I suspect you will. Those are Scott Harris guys.
Yep.
And it's funny, too, and this is in no way, shape, or form trying to say anything nice about Al Avila. Green, Carpenter.
He was good at drafting.
There's a lot of it's almost shocking how many more good Al Avila draft picks he had than we think that he had. He just botched too many trades.
Al Avila was a damn good drafter outside of the 1-1. Like if it was outside of the first overall pick in the draft, he could draft pretty well. But when he traded an all-star team and got nothing in return,
Right.
I always go back to Millen as well, okay? And hear me out. I am not going to pat a guy on the back and say, job well done, because the previous season you sucked ass and ended up getting the first or second pick in the draft. Sorry, I'm not going to do that. Absolutely, positively, you should hit on those. But in the interest of being fair, some of these guys weren't 1-1, 1-2, 1-3. There were some guys that he found, but listen, I heard that. Well, you have to give Millen credit. He drafted Calvin Johnson. Shut the
Right at
up
the top
with
of
that.
the draft, sure.
Shut the don't say dumb shit like that, right? And that's the kind of stuff that blows my mind. And like you said, Spenny, I swear to God, whether we want to admit it or not, and I didn't know you back then, okay? You're a baseball guy, but I didn't know you. The worst headaches I have had in the last 10 years were the people that tried to tell me how good those trades were. Whether it be the Justin Now, there comes a time, I get it, we all stick our flag in the ground. And I was wrong is so hard for so many people to say. But you had people arguing that well after the fact, and somehow trying to put Jake Rogers' success up as, well, the trade didn't work out as well as we wanted, but you got Jake Rogers. What the are you talking about? So that's the unfortunate thing about it. I think on top of the trade, Spenny, was having those conversations with people. Well, take a look at this piece or take a look at that piece. They were all bad. Let's confess and we'll all move on with our day. And I think that's what made a bad situation infinitely worse.
Yeah, and how dare you besmirch the name of Jake Rogers after a 7 RBI? I'm kidding. I'm obviously kidding. But
don't let him get hot.
Hey, he said
don't
don't let the Tigers get hot.
Rake Rogers.
Those words were actually pretty prophetic at the time, but we all know what happened after that. But Matt Broder in the chat, Flaherty trade was great. I hope it turns out that way. So far, it looks that way.
Looks real good.
Trey Sweeney's already in the bigs. Nobody thought that was going to happen.
They both had over 1,000 OPS.
Yes, both.
Huge. Yeah. I saw Flaherty yesterday. I was in Milwaukee yesterday. Flaherty, rough first inning, 2 home runs, gave up 3 hits. After that, he absolutely shut him down. He gave up 1 hit, I think, over the next 6, if I'm not mistaken. It was a Jack Flaherty outing. I mean, the guy was a stud. Yes, it'd be nice with the other pieces here if we kept him. But the reality is, if one of these pieces, God forbid, 2 of them work out, that's a brilliant deal.
Yes.
If one of them works out,
we can always get Flaherty back in the offseason.
You can, and I wouldn't hold my breath for that, by the way. But at the same time, Jack Flaherty, is he re-signing with the Dodgers?
Probably not.
Probably not.
And I'll tell you what, the Jack Flaherty situation, I can see this happening every single year when you got a guy like Chris Fetter. It happened with, what was his name last year?
Lorenzen.
Yeah. It happened with Flaherty this year.
Was the plan,
you bring in a fringe starter, you sign him to a 1 or 2 year deal, you get Chris Fetter to make him look like an ace, and then you trade him for top prospects. Like, that's easy. I could easily see that happening every single year as long as Chris Fetter is our pitching coach.
I mean, yeah, go ahead.
You know, if anybody could re-sign him, though, let's be honest, I wouldn't rule out the Dodgers.
No, not at all.
Honestly, I
would
sure.
fix the guy's career.
If he is, like, all jokes aside, if he's as solid as he was his first outing, and yesterday had a big hiccup in the first inning, but settled down after that, I mean, Dodgers don't give a shit about money. Yeah, sure, yeah. What do you want? 10 years, 7 years, whatever, and things like that. But no, I'm with you, and that is unfortunately what keeps people like me using that line. We're 1 year away from being 1 year away. Well, golly gee, let's go sign this guy, and then let's hope that we can flip him for some prospects, and then in a couple of years we'll look really good. Well, thus the statement, we're 1 year away from being 1 year away. in a perfect world, it would have been great if Kenta was the guy that had 1 year and Flaherty had 2 years, but here we are. You have to deal with it.
But if the guy doing the said flipping is Scott Harris, maybe he's better at that than Al Avila was. I mean, last year you got Hao Yu Lee for Michael Lorenzen. That looks like a pretty solid return as of now. And this year you got Tyron Lorenzo and Trey Sweeney for Jack Flaherty, among others. Of course, we don't know what's going to come of the returns for Canna Flaherty and Canna Chafin and Carson Kelly, but we shall see. But yeah, speaking of next year, I want to have a talk with all of you guys and everybody in the chat about the expectations for this team moving forward, maybe even next year. There's a lot more promise than maybe a lot of us really think. But first, tell us about the morning show.
I will, because I know you guys just got done watching it, but make sure you tune in every single morning with the Woo Crew. Wake up Woodward, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. You got Flannel, you got Kool-Aid, you got KG, Broder, JB, the gang's all there every day, Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m., only on the Woodward Sports Network. Make sure you tap in to Wake Up Woodward every day.
At Planet Fitness, you can get everything you need for just $1 down.
Try out Planet Fitness and dang, they got lots of equipment.
Not me getting a Planet Fitness membership just for the 24-hour perk.
Hey, y'all better get on these free fitness training sessions from Planet Fitness.
Did y'all know that the PF app has workouts you can do at home?
Cheapest therapy I can find is Planet Fitness.
Join Planet Fitness today and get everything you need for just $1 down. $15 a month, cancel anytime.
How about that rookie? He is something else. How big is that?
All of Detroit sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage. The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
Premier Pet Supply is hands down Michigan's best pet store. Same prices and all the conveniences, the online and big box retailers, with one major difference. They're family and locally owned and operated for over 30 years. 60 brands of food and nutrition experts to help you. Same day local curbside home delivery. Premier Pet Supply, give your pet the best. www.premierpetsupply.com.
Spenny, I got to bring up, you what kind of puppy do you have?
She's a golden doodle.
Okay, that's right. All right, so I have 2 schnoodles.
Yes.
And make your jokes about foo-foo dogs. I absolutely love them, okay?
Yeah,
they
they're good
won me
dogs.
over. I went to Premier and got those chicken feet. Do you ever get the chicken
Yeah.
feet? They go nuts.
I got Holly a duck head when we were there last
Right?
time. Yeah.
It's cracked to those dogs.
Yeah.
Like you should, like they get that base head look on their face, and I hold that chicken foot, and their heads going like that. It's like, I got your hit. I got your hit. They go nuts over that. So fully endorsed.
Yeah, I got Holly a chicken head or a duck head the last time we were there.
I was about to say, you got her a chicken.
I got relax. No Brady. I got Holly a duck head last time, and she tore that thing up. But Sean, I don't know if you were here. Did I tell you about the skunk situation?
No.
So Holly got sprayed by a skunk.
Oh no!
And
That's the worst.
like, it got her right on the face, and it was bad. But we took care of it. We washed her. We got her to her groomer. They shampooed her. But we have been like petitioning the city to get rid of these skunks because we've seen them.
I can help you.
And we ordered some pellet guns online.
Hey.
So they just came in. It's like a revolver with like CO2 powered pellets.
Oh, yeah.
Next time I see that fucker in the front lawn,
Listen, you're gonna be surprised. They're tough bastards.
Yeah.
Like they are. We had a family under the shed.
Holy shit.
And all right, you know, I don't give a shit.
we got a family of them too.
Those babies, 1 or 2 shots, they're done. But listen, Mama took 8 pumps.
Oh, damn.
And I'm the whole time I'm going, all right, she's got to spray. Every one of the babies sprayed.
Yeah.
Every one. And boom. All right, she's going to spray any second. She never sprayed. But let me tell you something. Those little bastards, those babies, they spray, dude.
Yeah.
And it's nasty.
Yeah,
So
they got Holly right in the face, and like I said, we were living at peace with them. We were fine to live comfortably with them.
Yeah.
But they drew first blood.
when somebody breaks the peace, dude,
Yeah.
it's
Declare
come on.
war.
That's
Yeah.
just the
It's
way
war.
it is.
It is.
You put on the war paint.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Let's go.
Gonna get some head cameras, go out there and take them out.
How'd you get the skunk smell off? Is it the tomato soup trick that everybody talk about?
We didn't have any tomato sauce or anything like that, so we used like peroxide and apple cider vinegar and something else and baking soda.
Yeah.
And just like rubbed it down with it.
I gotta love it. We don't love, dogs getting into little skirmishes with us skunks. That is uncalled for. We always root for the dogs in that situation because we don't deserve dogs. But shout out to Holly. Hope for a clean bill of everything moving forward. Yes. But speaking of a team that we want a clean bill for moving forward, the Detroit Tigers.
Woo!
Hey, at the end of the season, we're going to be, I think we're going to get more of an idea of what we have on this team going into next year. And I got to ask you this, Sean Belegian. You always talk about a year away from being a year away. Are we actually a year away? Is next year the year with this core that the Tigers make the playoffs?
No. We are legitimately a year away from a year away. And I can't believe I'm fucking saying that. Like, I'm mad at myself for saying it. No, because there are enough pieces here that, like, I think you can look at it. And I'm going to say it again. You have to give the Royals credit. I mean, the Royals are the team, I think, in the division that pissed me off more than any other one. Because since the Tigers last won the World Series, you had the Royals win a World Series, suck for an eon, do it the right way, win another World Series, suck for an eon, do it the right way, and all of a sudden look like they're going to be pretty damn good the next few years. I'm not saying it's going to turn into another World Series, but you see legitimate pieces there, right? And then, the White Sox were a lot like the Tigers. They took their medicine, and I was wrong. I was flat out wrong. I looked at what the White Sox had in 2020, Flannel, and I thought to myself, holy crap, they are going to be relevant for 10 years, and everything fell apart. I think a lot of it, the La Russa stuff, and then some of the pieces obviously didn't exactly fit and all that. But I'm serious when I say this. I think with the young pieces that they have and where they have those young pieces, next year is kind of – and full disclosure, I thought this team was going to be just over 500 this year.
We all did.
I really did.
We all did.
I think that's next year, and the legitimate competes the year after that. How's that?
That's fair. KG, I want to get your thoughts on this. Next season, can this Tigers core be a playoff team?
It's so tough to say that, man, because the key to this, once again, if your owner spends a little bit of money, not the whole caboodle, a little bit of money, they can easily be a playoff team next season. And I fully believe that with everything that they had this year, of course, we didn't have the Matt Chapmans of the world and, all the players, Victor Martinez, all the players that, people was like, oh, if we had added them, we would have been good. I understand that. I do feel that with what they have, if everything had went according to plan, they would have at least been in the wild card race this year with what they had. So, I mean, it's tough to say, man, but I do believe that, with this young talent, I do see a pathway, but it's hard for me to say right now because I don't know exactly how much money they are willing to spend going forward to protect some of these young guys.
Interesting. Spenny, I want your take on this.
I'll say it. I'll say yes.
Yeah.
The Tigers are going to make the playoffs next year. You look at it, they'll bring in another starter. You got Jackson Jobe, who is going to be on this rotation next year. You got Tariq Skubal, who's the best pitcher in the American League, and it's not close. You got Reese Olson. Hopefully he's good. There's the 1, 2, 3 right there. Yep. And then can Casey Mize be a fourth? Can they bring in somebody for a 5? That's a good staff right there. I like what we got with the young guys, with Riley Green, with Kerry Carpenter, with hopefully Trey Sweeney. I like what I see out of Parker Meadows since he's been back with the Tigers. Hopefully he can get that going. Maybe we get a torque renaissance. I'm not putting anything on that. But with these young guys we got in the lineup right now, like Riley Green, who's coming back pretty soon, Kerry Carpenter, he is back. Different guys like Justin Henry Malloy and Wenzel Perez to be complimentary bats. You pay for one bat in the offseason.
But will they do it?
I think they'll do it. You bring in one bat, that'll be enough to get you to the playoffs.
Isn't that the remains to be seen, though? Because I agree with you. Chris can talk all he wants, but until he actually goes and does it, then maybe I'm going to believe it. Because right now I'm not buying it. I'm just not. Now, in fairness, he did throw out a couple of contracts to Kenta and obviously to Jack. But this talk about going and investing in the bat, it reminds me of a few. People forget Mr. Ilitch was really gun shy for a while.
Yeah.
Okay. There was Mike Moore, and then there was the Juan Gonzalez situation, and I think you guys all know how that. And then it was dead silent until Pudge. And then it was Carlos Guillen, who, in my mind, does not get nearly enough
I
credit
love
for
Carlos
being
Guillen.
the glue
Kind of looks like a turtle.
in the
He
room.
does,
And
but-
one of my favorite Tiger memories was that. Do you remember the glare against Jeff Weaver when he hit that bomb?
I was at that games.
Phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. But and then Maglio, and then all of a sudden the money started to be spent.
Yeah.
There is nothing right now that could make anybody believe, other than optimism, and I'm hearing optimism. I'm not going to shit on you for optimism.
Yeah.
There is nothing that could make anybody believe, Flannel, that Chris is going to go,
Hey, and that's fine.
I'm spending.
And that's fine. If he doesn't do that, the only money I want him to spend is Javi Baez. Get him off the team.
That's fair.
Like, what are we still doing? This has been 3 years of just dragging this guy in your lineup and bringing your team down. Show me you're serious. If you don't want to get a free agent, fine. Get rid of Javi Baez.
Don't let Javi get hot. He's on a heater.
Go,
Check
man.
that OPS since the All-Star break.
You want to go through another year of
Check
that?
that
though?
OPS since the All-Star break.
Another year of Javi watch.
He's over 700.
Oh, well, that's a good OPS if you do it for a season. But call me when that happens. But KG, that's interesting because it's so bad with Javi that if that's all they do is buy this effort out, that's
cool.
I'm like, okay,
Money well
fine.
spent.
I'm not saying that in a perfect world that's all that he would do, but that is, I would say, step one, but I don't necessarily think he's going to do it. However, regardless of what happens with Javi Baez or not, I agree with Spencer Raxter. The Tigers, to me, barring injury, there's no excuse for this team not to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
You mentioned their starting rotation. You got Skubal, you've got Job, you've got Olsen, you've got Casey Mize. That doesn't sound so bad. And then you're five, you could buy someone, maybe Ty Madden or somebody like
Matt
that.
Manning.
Sawyer Gibson Long. I think he's coming back from Tommy John. There's
Joey Wentz.
Is the Matt Manning train still chugging along? Is that a thing anymore?
Nah.
Okay.
No.
The train derailed.
Not
right?
as a starter, no.
Okay,
Maybe
I
as a
wanna make
reliever,
sure.
not as a
I
starter.
just want to make sure.
Give Kenta another shot.
That was
no.
one of those magic names for a few years, you know?
Yeah.
And please, and this is where I'm almost praying to the injury gods. Give me 140 games apiece of Riley Green or Kerry Carpenter.
I was about to say, I hate to be Neil Rule, but the injury, two players in your core are very injury prone.
That is very, very fair, and I can't even deny it. Even though I love these guys. I've loved these guys from the beginning, but I can't deny that once again you see them on the IL. Kerry Carpenter for damn near half the season. If you can get 140 games each of those guys, if you can have continued development of like a Colt Keith, for example, or Parker Meadows or Dylan Dingler, and then and just to name a few, Justin Henry Malloy, Matt Vierling even coming back on this team and being a solid veteran. To me, and this is where I'm going to be very on-brand Flannel Sam, you don't need to make a big splash signing.
You don't.
You need to do a smart signing, maybe something that doesn't break the bank. You guys who have watched me for a long time already know the name that I want on this team as this. To me, this would be a do a backflip off the table type of signing.
Tommy Pham.
Tommy Pham is not the number one. And I am speaking to Scott Harris right now, if you are watching. Scott Harris, go get Jesse Winker in free agency for the love of God. Bring Jesse Winker home. He is a guy who this season cost $2 million to the Washington Nationals and New York Mets. He might cost a little bit more going into next year, but he's still a guy who is undervalued, even though Jesse Winker's career on-base percentage is .369. That's insane. That's insane, actually.
Nice.
And
The problem I have, though, Flannel, is every one of these conversations, okay? And I'm trying my hardest not to be the stick in the mud. Every one of these conversations are predicated on something we haven't seen.
Yeah.
Whether it be Chris is going to spend based on what? What makes you say that? And to your point, and I hope you're right. I hope you know that. I'm not deviating from the be nice to Flannel creed that Mac threw down. But you know what? What makes me think that Riley Green and Kerry Carpenter is going to stay healthy?
Hope.
That's what I'm saying.
No, for real.
Health parlay, as Neil would like to say.
As Jim Schwartz once said,
Look how tall that guy is.
hope is not a strategy.
No.
It isn't a strategy. And I think for a lot of people out there, the bank account is very, very short in the hope department. I hope you're right.
Yes.
I do. I hope you're right. But pardon me, and maybe some of the other out there, if the jaded part of me isn't winning out with the I'll believe it when I see it aspect.
And I can't blame you for that. There's nothing I can say about the health of Riley Green and Kerry Carpenter other than that it's a question mark. I guess the reason why I'm going to continue to have hope and I'm going to either ride with the ship to the heights or die in the water is that when we've seen them on the field, they've produced. Riley Green had a almost fully healthy first half. He did have a fully healthy first half, and he made the All-Star team. Kerry Carpenter over about 202 career games has an OPS over 840. That is pretty damn good. These are the type of guys that I want on the Tigers moving forward if healthy. And like I said, if you get a pretty clean bill of health, development from the Colt Keiths of the world, and you bring in a guy like Jesse Winker, 369 career on-base percentage. By the way, for some context, higher than Andrew McCutchen, Alex Bregman, Jose Altuve, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Corey Seager, Carlos Correa, Jose Ramirez, and J.D. Martinez. That's facts, by the way.
Wow.
And he is not going to cost you that much money. And then a couple other free agencies you could pull from.
But he doesn't hit home runs, Sam.
He hits more home runs than you think. Career OPS over 808.
There we go.
Career OPS of 808, by the way. Don't think I left that out.
Shout out, Justin.
If you bring home Jesse Winker and then you choose from a pool of guys that I even wrote down, Tommy Pham, I love him on this team.
Sounds like spit.
What about Robbie Grossman? Bring Robbie Grossman back home.
Yes.
Joey Gallo.
No.
Nah, I'm good on him.
No.
That's not my favorite.
Yeah.
And how about you bring one of these two guys back? Either bring back Carson Kelly or bring back Mark Canha. Next season, Jesse Winker, Kerry Carpenter, Riley Green, full of healthy, the pitching staff, the bullpen, playoff team.
But look at what we asking for. Jesse Winkers of the world. Like
he's
that's how much money they won't spend. Look at who we're asking for.
Listen, though, I'm going to get your back here, Flannel, and not just because of the decree from McCarty, or the McCree, as it were. No, listen, there is such a big difference in a lineup when you don't have – I mean, how many times have we seen a lineup this year out of the Tigers, especially early in the year, where you had 4 or 5 outs? I mean, there's just no other way to say – when all of a sudden you're putting guys in there, to your point, when the young guys and a couple of these pieces that are going to work, you got to pitch to somebody.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of the strengths of the Tigers during that era, the 11 to 14 era, is you looked at so many of those rosters.
You couldn't do nothing.
Okay, you got to pitch to, and that allowed a Ryan Rayburn to have his Rayburn
right,
moments
Ramon
or whatever.
Santiago.
Omar Infante.
That's my little lighthouse. I loved Omar. Complete
Yeah.
disrespect to Omar. But, I mean, all jokes aside, that was something that really helped this team.
Clay
and
Thomas.
those pieces are the Song of the South. I still remember him going up and hearing that song.
That's my
but
guy.
those are the kind of signings that fly under the radar that all of a sudden you look at this roster and you're like, well, he's got to pitch to him. And this is a guy that finds a way to get on base, and you get those ducks in the row, and everything's different. So I feel you there. I think that's legitimate.
I appreciate that. Cause
you don't need it from me.
No, I know, but Jesse Winker, an on-base machine, and Chase Emily, intern Chase in the chat. What happened to Lamont Wade Jr.? You buy Lamont Wade Jr. at next year's trade deadline.
I would love that.
GM Flannel Sam would get the Tigers into the playoffs.
Standing on it.
You know what's funny? I'm a very humble man, but I really believe that because
R.I.P. to Billy Bean.
Hey.
It's flannel ball now.
Right.
Hey, wait a minute, Spencer. It was actually a different. There's 2 Billy Beans.
Oh.
Billy Bean of the Oakland A's, he is still alive.
Oh, okay.
But
well,
yes.
R.I.P. to his thought process,
His
because now
doppelganger.
it's flannel ball.
Right.
The other Billy Bean is a former Tiger.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a bean with an E and without an E, right?
The E is the Oakland A, the former Oakland A's president GM. Yes, you are 100% correct. But I have an almost unhealthy obsession with wanting to moneyball MLB baseball teams. That's what I do for fun, guys. To the shock of absolutely no one. I don't know how I'm still not a virgin. But anywho, I am not. I have a wife.
And
I get laid all the time.
Yep.
Those are my words.
Factual.
Back from the day. But
Tell us about Lady Jane's.
I will. Awesome is where a guy can be a guy and get an amazing haircut. That's Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Stop in and sit back and relax and let one of Lady Jane's talented stylists make you look and feel great. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in anytime 7 days a week. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
And let me tell you about the Ally Challenge presented by McLaren. It is back August 22nd through the 25th at Warwick Hills. Leave the golf to the pros, but don't miss the party on 17, $2 birdie beers, concerts, and more. Get your tickets at allychallenge.com brought to you by Randy Wise Automotive.
The Great American Chevy Week is back and bigger than ever at Feldman Chevrolet. Choose from the largest inventory of award-winning Chevys, all priced to move for the biggest week of the year. Get this 2024 Silverado for only $213 a month, or this 2024 Equinox for as low as $249 a month. Feldman takes the Great American Chevy Week to another level. Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media. Is that an octopus in your pants, or are you just happy to see me? You should see what I did there. Go Red Wings! From Octopi Experts, Woodward Sports.
Let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts. Our professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. 24/7 professional monitoring. Call us anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone as long as needed. Technology backed by people. Your safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work and people have been proven to care. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT. That's 1-800-STAY-OUT. Guardian Alarm, your local security experts.
Stay out!
Welcome back to Big D Energy Live on the Woodward Sports Network, and I got to read a couple of comments because you guys are hating a little bit. That's okay. Steve DeYoung, he has a wife. Screw you, Steve DeYoung. Hey, Spenny and KG can vouch for me, but I don't need your approval.
He does
it's okay.
have a wife.
And Chuck
She's
Brewer.
a lovely woman.
I've seen her.
Thank you. Seen it. And Chuck Brewer, Sam has to be lying. We all know what happens with your sex life once you get married. That's a good one. That's a good one, Chuck Brewer. Hopefully things are a little bit better in the Brewer household moving forward, because it looks like a window into your head, but it's okay. It happens to the best of us. Happens to the best of us.
Flannel firing back.
Yeah, Flannel gets snippy. He gets snippy up there.
No, Chuck Brewer's the man, though. I got it.
No, don't try to take it back. Now you said what you said. Let's move on.
You know what? Let's move on to the Detroit Lions, and screw you, Spenny, as well, because of what you put in the.
What did I do? Oh yeah.
In the show sheet, is Flannel going to be rooting for Mahomes or the Lions this weekend? That's the age-old question that's going to be asked until the end of time for Woodward Sports shows that I am going to be on. But seriously, Sean Belegian, I know your view on preseason. I know that you're not a fan.
It's a correct view.
And I would agree with you on that. Is there anything worth watching Saturday versus the Chiefs?
By the way, Flannel doesn't live too far from me. There already is red and yellow smoke coming from his home. So that means the candles and incense are burnt. He will be worshiping at the Mahomes altar tomorrow. You know what? Honestly, if this plays out the way the coaches are talking, I'm kind of intrigued to watch Kansas City's ones against what Detroit puts out there. I'm intrigued. Now, Dan says he's not going to go with the starters a lot. Let's wait and see if that maybe changes. You know, he has a talk with Andy before the game, and oh, really? You're going to throw your ones out there for the majority of the half? Maybe I'm going to put some of my ones out there. That would be intriguing to watch. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Listen, I kind of feel like a hypocrite because I'm the guy. I have done this for years. There is next to nothing to take from these games. Like, the sooner you get it through the head, the better off your life will be. But at the same time, I can't wait for tomorrow afternoon. Like, honestly, I mean that. It's exciting to me. I want to watch it. It's football. I get it. It's preseason football. But that would be an intriguing aspect. If he goes with his ones, as long as he says he's going to, all right, how might the Lions counter that? Yeah, I'm intrigued to see how that is.
That would be – I don't know how I feel about that. Letting Andy Reid and what he does with his team dictate what the Lions do. But at the same time, we never know how it's going to play out. KG, you echoed that statement. Are you looking forward to watching anything with this preseason game?
Maybe just more of the defense. I think some of the young guys will get some run, some more Rakestraw and Terry Arnold. I'm always, a supporter of that. But, yeah, absolutely. They don't need to put their starters out just because the Chiefs are putting their starters out. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard. It's all about getting the guys that you need to get work in, have them get the work in the preseason, and they'll be fine.
Yeah, and one of the things that I really enjoyed watching about the last preseason game, and it wasn't much because it was absolutely terrible football, but Broderick Martin having himself a game.
Thank you.
And that's
People
what
slept on him.
Well, as you should though after that rookie season. I know it's developmental, but he's somebody who the burden of proof is on him. And I look at that defensive line. I look at that as a situation, a position group in which you're going to need some depth pieces. Guys like Levi Onwuzurike, who may be even more than a depth piece. A guy like Josh Paschal. A guy like James Houston, who really struggled a bit during his time as at the Sam linebacker in the preseason. A Mekhi Wingo. Those are the players that I'm looking forward to watching more because you're going to need these guys, especially if DJ Reader or Aleem McNeil, Marcus Davenport go down for any period of time or even just as rotational pieces.
So doesn't that only counter what I'm saying? You're building to my point. I want to see those guys. Who better to compare yourself against than Mahomes in the one? They're the Super Bowl champion. He is flannel TM, one of one.
Yep.
I want to see how those guys do. And you don't necessarily, that doesn't mean that you throw the ones out on the offense. Who gives a crap? We know what this offense is going to be.
It's 3 years in.
I feel totally confident in that. But to me, it's, okay, Casey's going to roll with the ones on offense. Well, let's see how the defense does. And those guys that you mentioned are all those defensive pieces. So I guess we're on the same page here because, yes, that's what I'm intrigued about. How are they going to perform? I don't give a crap if it's Len Dawson or Chad Henne or whoever it is. Bring back Trent Green. I don't give a crap who it is. If Patrick Mahomes and those ones are out there, yes, I want to see those pieces in action against that group.
Hey, that Len Dawson to Otis Taylor connection in Super Bowl IV, that was absolutely electric.
Hank Stram loved every second of it.
Keep matriculating the ball down the field, boys.
You got it.
But yeah, it's I don't want to see like the starters of the starters out there today, like the Goffs or the Aiden Hutchinsons or the Paneys. But yeah, to your point, I'm talking about guys who could play significant snaps on the defensive line.
You got it.
And the reason why I'm not as concerned about guys like Terrion Arnold or Ennis Rakestraw moving forward because we saw that they looked like they belonged in that first preseason game. I think there's more questions about the depth on this defensive line, especially with a guy like John Kaminsky going down. And you never know how important or unimportant that's going to be moving forward. Spenny, what are you looking for?
Sorry, Sydney Sweeney just posted a picture and she's got cake out of nowhere. So
as you were, if you need be.
I'm looking for hopefully Levi. I'd like to see Levi get out there a little bit. This is a guy that they've been hyping up all camp. This is a guy they've been talking about, looking like he's going to be the real deal, looking like he's taking a step forward, looking like he's the guy that they drafted in the second round because he has an aptitude of getting to the quarterback. I would like to see that against Patrick Mahomes. I would like to see that against the Kansas City starting offensive line, against a guy like Creed Humphrey. So, again, I'm with you. I don't need to see Hutchinson. I don't need to see Jared Goff. I don't even want to see Amik Robertson out there because the secondary is already getting a little thin. So I would like to see that defensive line, maybe some linebacker work. Throw Jack Campbell in there a little bit. Throw Derek Barnes out there, and let me see some of those guys on the defensive line like Josh Paschal and Levi Onwuzurike.
What if I gave this hypothetical on yesterday's Wake Up Woodward show. Shout out to KG and Kool-Aid who are in the house right now.
Yes, sir.
What if Levi Onwuzurike actually plays like that $20 million a year defensive tackle that Kevin Zeitler hinted at?
Right.
I'm not saying he will. I'm not saying he's a guy that the Lions are necessarily going to re-sign. But for this year, if Levi Onwuzurike is even a fraction of the guy that they drafted him to be back in 2021, that could be one of those under-the-radar missing pieces to a Super Bowl team. And I've said this many, many times. Levi Onwuzurike was a better prospect than Aleem McNeil.
Yes, he was.
Levi Onwuzurike is somebody who is now as healthier than he's been in many, many years, and you can point to a nagging back issue as to maybe why he wasn't as productive as the Lions would have hoped, or why he wasn't as available as the Lions and us fans would have hoped. If he's that guy, especially if DJ Reader misses week 1, week 2, this, like I said, those under-the-radar little pieces to Super Bowl teams, it could be Levi O.
You are spot on. And I mean, I've talked about it with you guys, whether it be you or Spenny or KG, many times in the past few weeks. That is my concern, that unit. okay? And then you add Kaminsky's injury on top of it. We all know it has to be better. If you really want to unleash the next level that many of us, I would say all of us, think Aiden Hutchinson have, give him a little help. And I'm not even saying it has to manifest itself. I'll use the same analogy that I did before. In Ndamukong Suh, it didn't manifest itself with bombastic numbers. Oh, Suh had 25 sacks.
Yeah.
It manifested itself in watching other guys blow up because you legitimately had to put 2 and 3 guys on that guy, down in, down out. And then all of a sudden, Cliff Averill, who should send him Christmas cards for the rest of his days,
Absolutely.
Cliff Averill turns into an absolute stud. So I'm with underrated, great point on your part.
And you know what? You mentioned the defensive line. I want to ask a question more so to you and Spenmo Rax when we get back, because it was something that was posed on yesterday's Big D Energy show, but you didn't really hear myself, Sean Baligian, or Spenny's opinion on it. But first, I got to tell you about Swiss Insurance. Now more than ever, it is critical for you to have your insurance reviewed. Swiss Insurance will make sure your carrier is not slipping in extra fees. Call Mark at Swiss Insurance today at 313-530-1698 or go to their website at swissins.com.
The Ally Challenge presented by McLaren is back August 22nd through 25th at Warwick Hills and Grand Blanc. Be there for PGA Tour Champions Golf, Family Night, concerts, and more. Tickets start at just $15. Get yours at allychallenge.com today.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola, really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets?
Nobody! Join the best youth football league in Metro Detroit. The Boys and Girls Club of Southeastern Michigan's 3C Sports League offers youth ages 5 to 14 with 6 enticing teams to choose from in Detroit, Belleville, Highland Park, and East Point. All coaches are trained, certified, and undergo background checks. Register for football or cheerleading at bgcsm.org. Equipment, meals, transportation, all included, all for a chance to play a championship at Ford Field for just $175 per child. Put the youth back in youth sports with BGCSM 3C Sports.
Hey, cruising on in to the second hour of Big D Energy Live on the Woodward Sports Network. We are live from the 6th annual Darren McCarty charity golf outing from the Links of Novi. A very, very fun event. We are having fun today, and Darren McCarty is just the toast of this course.
Be
My
nice
goodness.
to Flannel Day. I have to say it again because McCarty's like just to the left of me. I think he's coming. I see him out of the side of my eye. But he's the one that he mandated be nice to Flannel Day. That won't, not my words. Those are D-Mac's words.
Hey, you can hear it from the man himself.
There he is.
Hello.
How's everybody doing today? Welcome to Big D Energy Live from Links of Novi for the Darren McCarty 6th Annual Grind Time Family, a golf outing. Now I'm hosting, I'm not playing. The only time that I will be at a golf course in the calendar year that I will not play at golf hole unless it clears up and maybe I'll play later. Anyway, side note, but yes, I did officially say, why don't we all, and I'll lead by example, be nice to Flannel Day. Now, somebody might have caveated until he says something stupid. And I said, well, it's on brand. He probably will. But you know what? Just so everybody can get along, just like everybody else. But appreciate the network, all the hard work from everybody here, all the shows here. You know, this is what it's all about to me. Woodward Sports is always about the people. Couldn't be prouder of having this event. And as we see, plus, check this out, Sean, and you would know. Popped Hard. You know who's out there? Lance Parrish.
There we go.
Anybody knows me, knows anything, that Lance Parrish is my favorite athlete of all time. I wanted to be the catcher of the Detroit Tigers, and instead I was better at punching people in the face than hitting a curveball.
That's fair.
But to have him out here and to be able to share those moments, it's awesome.
Still one of the greatest posters in the history of posters. Lance Parrish standing next to the Tiger when we were kids.
Oh, yeah, standing next to him. And then how about the one that you saw? I saw it through Facebook yesterday where it was Tram, Lou, Chet, and then we had the little Tiger cub that was clawing him in the thing. That is, iconic for me. Like I always say, 12 years old was 84. That's the wheelhouse age to everything else. So to me, the Grind Time family, like a lot of the 12-year-olds back in 1997 have grown up and they're out here today. So I can't thank anybody enough for the support from the network, for everybody out there. So please, be nice to Flannel today.
D-Mac, who's got the best odds to win it?
To win this golf tournament?
Yeah, people are asking.
Joey's team's got to be really tough because you got Joey and Manny playing together, and the boy, and the boys, how that they are two of the best. They're better golfers than I am.
Manny knows his course
I'd
too.
say I'm number 3 for them. So whenever you get them, and I know like Buckets Bayoff, he's playing his best golf that I've seen of his life, and I only play with him 3 days a week. So they're going to be tough to beat. So I know Bachelor Bob, for of you Bachelor fames 20 years ago, is out here. He's a 3-time champion of this tournament. So there's some, and I know that there's some other teams that there's 36 teams out here. There's probably about 6 like legit teams that are going to come in 18 under or better, which is legit that they can do. So
Calvin off the tee actually registers on the Richter scale. Like if you're one of those, you feel the shake when he lets her go, right?
I mentioned Lance Parrish, but how cool to have him and Rob Sims and like I said, the brethren. But they just, for Calvin Johnson to take time out of his schedule to be here, and obviously give us a couple minutes earlier. If you can check out on the Woodward Sports socials, we had a little, I asked him a poignant question about, injuries in the preseason, and, take a listen and to what he had to say. But appreciate all the support. Be nice to Flannel out there. You and Lorena Rios don't get along, right?
No.
That's me.
No.
That's
Okay.
Me.
Well, me
that's
neither,
never going
but
to change. Well, you both
worse.
years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
one thing you can do. Anyways, and I said it's be nice to Flannel Day. Don't be nice to cats.
There we go. I haven't seen Cats in a while.
Hey,
I seen him yesterday.
I'll tell you what.
Must got caught with all that CP in his.
I will say this though: the way that Lorena Rios has been wilding out lately.
D-Mac's the GOAT.
Yeah, D-Mac is the GOAT. Give me Brandon Katz over Lorena Rios any day of the week.
Honestly, me too.
I can't stand that woman, but that's okay. Still give us those views in those chats. Just watch what you say. But Sean Belegian, you have been consistent that the defensive line is something that you're concerned about, primarily the edge rushing outside of Aiden Hutchinson. And they talked about it on Big D Energy yesterday, but I wanted to get your opinion. James Houston, ...
A piece? I'm not.
Are you concerned about James Houston?
I hate to chicken out. I'm concerned about the whole thing. I am. I think there's a big difference between getting a consistent generic pass rush and having to manufacture pass rush. And I'm serious. You could talk to Rob Sims if he's out here. You could talk to my guy, Lomas Brown. They'll be the first guys to tell you when you hear the term manufacture a pass rush, it kind of sends a shiver because in a perfect world, that can just be something that happens organically. So because of that, this goes back to what we were saying about the injuries with the Tigers. If this is going to be a I'll believe it when I see it type of situation. I'm not saying, it's going to be awful. It's going to be awful because nothing's going to be awful when you have Aiden Hutchinson part of it.
Right.
But since we are all talking Super Bowl, and rightfully so, you know what? I want a Super Bowl caliber pass rush. I do, Flannel. So in that regard, while you talk about injuries, I'm not worried about injuries until they happen. See the 2 Tiger players we were talking about. But at the same time, there's a little bit of that, show me. I want to see it. I want to see it. I don't want to hear it anymore. It's be better than you were last year.
That's fair. And Spenny, I know that you're overriding opinion on this, but I wanted to ask you because it was Sean Belegian who brought it up. Is James Houston a component to a Super Bowl level pass rush?
Yes, James Houston is a component to a Super
piece.
Bowl level. He is a piece of it. He is. I call him. He's the pit bull on the chain. You know what he is. I think they were trying to overuse him with that Sam role. They put him back at the defensive end. That's what he's best at. He is a quarterback assassin. He gets in there and he rips the quarterback's head off. That's all I need out of him. All I need out of him is to play 20 to 30 snaps a game at most. Just put him in there in obvious passing downs, and if he gets home on one of them, it can change the game. Look at Bruce Irvin, Uncle Bruce, Grandpa Bruce Irvin, fresh off of the retirement home, comes in. He has one of the most important sacks for the Lions last year because it took Derek Carr out of the game, and they might not have won that game against the Raiders if Derek Carr was still playing.
Isn't that crazy?
So one game, one play can change a season, and James Houston could provide you one play in almost every game.
That what you said about Bruce Irvin, Jameis Winston, the way that he was playing for the Saints when he came in was one of the most inaccurate displays of quarterback play that I've ever seen in my entire life.
Jameis,
so when we say that, and this isn't dissing the Lions or anything, that they might have lost that game if Derek Carr was in, we've got Bruce Irvin to thank for that. You never wish for injury, although I called for it probably a few times on pregame shows and Friday morning Woodward shows. But you know what? I never actually want injury, but it happened last year with Bruce Irvin. And I can see both sides of the James Houston thing because in 2022, he played 123 snaps the whole season and had 8 sacks. Only 92 pass rushing snaps and 8 sacks. That is a level of efficiency that is just insane, of course, on a very small sample size. We saw him not so look good at Sam in the preseason, but they're moving him back. When it comes to James Houston, as you said, Spenny, it almost has to be like primal Neanderthal-like. See quarterback, kill quarterback. Don't worry about anything else. Just get to that man right there. Because do I believe he's a complete defensive player? Absolutely not. Do I believe that he has the potential to be just that, I don't know, that flash in the pan once or twice per game sack master? I've seen it with my own eyes.
Yeah.
Seen it with my own eyes in a 2022. So
James
I think
Houston, if there's one thing he can do, it is rip the head off the quarterback, and that's
right.
all I need him to do.
And see, again, this is such a big difference from the. I mean, I say it all the time. And I'll continue to say it. Go back and watch old films of games. The NFL is a totally different game. I grew up in an era, okay, where these defensive lines all had nicknames. And you knew who they were. Yeah. There was the Steel Curtain. There was the Silver Rush.
The Purple People.
There was Doomsday Defense and everything.
Yeah.
And you had 4 guys that were out there first, second, and third down. You know what GMs do today, smart GMs do today? You collect D linemen and you collect cornerbacks. You just collect them. Yeah. I'm going to have extra guys. And I'm with you. I think a lot of times when you're asking somebody to be something that he isn't, you're begging for trouble. But if you're asking a guy to go out there and be an energy guy, and Spenny, I like that. You know what? Okay, James, we're gonna let you off the chain just this one time.
Yes.
Go attack.
Yes.
And you know what? Keep them chained other than that. But that one play, you hold that chain as tight as you can, and you go, there's a skunk in Spenny's yard. And you let that chain, and that bastard goes and destroys that skunk. You don't even have to pull the pellet gun out. That's the type of thing that I'm talking about. But I think anything more than that, that's why I use the term piece. He's a piece. If you think that this guy's going to go in there and be an integral part, I don't believe it.
But and kind of to piggyback off of that, I don't blame people for sleeping on him or forgetting about him a little bit. James, here's the reality. 2022, that flurry to end the season, both by the Lions and James Houston, they were kind of microcosms of each other, was phenomenal. But last season, 2023, that was the most exciting season any of us have ever experienced. It was just wonderful to watch. They were winning damn near every week. It wasn't always because of their defense or their pass rush. Oftentimes that was a hindrance, but they were still winning. They still won 2 playoff games, and James Houston had absolutely nothing to do with it. And it's easy for people to forget about him because of that. And it's not his fault. He had a very freak injury that I think he's going to be able to come back from and recover 100%. But the burden is on him to contribute and be a valuable piece on a team that actually goes to the playoffs, that maybe goes to the Super Bowl, that has home playoff games.
With a full season of work.
Absolutely. It would be, you're absolutely
people
right.
forget in 2022, he was cut to begin the year. What he did in the second half once they re-signed him was amazing. But we just have to see it again.
That's one thing I hate is when people call him injury prone. Like he
like,
broke his ankle.
It was
it's
one
not like
injury.
it was a nagging knee or a nagging hamstring or something like that. The man broke his ankle. Like he wasn't injury prone.
Yeah, and it was on a freak play, and you hope to God you never see him on special teams again.
Yes.
Because he's too valuable. Because at his peak, he is a valuable piece of a Super Bowl team.
I agree.
At his absolute peak, he could even be a double-digit sack guy. It's
well
not
could
crazy.
be.
He had 8 and 9 games as a, or I think he has 8 and 9 games in his career, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's barely played any snaps though.
Yeah, and it's just impressive when you see him do things like that. And one other thing that's impressive is watching Mark White sell a home.
Damn right.
Because he is the best in the game at it. Dreaming of a new home, but feeling the financial pinch, Mark White and Associates, your trusted real estate expert, are here to help. Mark White and his team will pay up to $5,000 your closing costs. That's right, I said $5,000. Call Mark White and Associates today at 248-290-8242 or visit markwhitesells.com. Again, call Mark White today at 248-290-8242 to make your dreams come true.
To any Lady Jane's haircuts for men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's haircuts for men, it's wicked awesome.
The Ally Challenge presented by McLaren is back August 22nd through 25th at Warwick Hills and Grand Blanc. Be there for PGA Tour Champions Golf, Family Night, concerts, and more. Tickets start at just $15. Get yours at allychallenge.com today.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
Since 1996, Feldman Automotive has been driven to provide a fast, convenient, and first-class car buying experience called the Feldman Advantage. With 18 locations, there's a Feldman dealership in your backyard. Visit feldmanauto.com to find the location nearest you, or catch Woodward Sports live from Feldman Chevrolet of Novi every other Wednesday. We are there this week. We'll be there in a couple weeks. It's Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Hey, welcome back
I'm
to Big
getting
D
your
Energy.
back. I'm mad. Maz made me mad.
Uh-oh.
No, I'm serious.
Get your shit off, Sean.
No,
Talk to
I'm
him.
serious. There comes a time, I get it. It's a wait and see. I'm not writing a check for anybody the Tigers are calling up, okay?
Yeah.
But can we call progress progress?
Yeah.
When guys are getting it done in the AAA level, there's at least a little reason to be excited, okay? And it is a change from 7-8 years ago where they told me, hey, be excited about this flannel guy. Pay no attention to his 520 OPS in AA. You need to be excited about him because we're telling you to be excited about him. There's legitimate things to be excited. Now,
they're actually hitting the ball.
With that, I'm not ready to say that Maz was quote-unquote wrong. It's way too early in the game. But I can be excited about some guys getting it done. So I wanted to, and again, this has nothing to do with the McCarty mandate of be nice to flannel today. No, you're right.
Yeah.
There's legitimate reason to be excited. You're not writing him into the Hall of Fame.
Nope.
You're not saying, oh, Tigers won the deal. They absolutely violated the Dodgers. You're saying, oh, this one could be pretty good, and I think you're right.
Well, to me, F returns, that's like Franklin Perez is an F return. Daz Cameron is an F return. Alcantara, not the good one, the
three that we got.
Yeah,
Right.
Sergio. That's,
Isak Paredes then letting him go.
that's
right.
That's an F return, not even if Trey Sweeney just turns out to be a
Lorenzo was the best prospect traded at the deadline. How could he was literally the highest rated prospect traded at the deadline.
Yeah,
and be an average shortstop.
Yeah,
like seriously, an average shortstop. This franchise would take it at this point in time. You know?
Yeah.
We were begging for 240 yesterday out of Trey Sweeney.
Right.
Like that 240 will be better than whatever we have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'll see that, and I'll say if you give me a 300 on base percentage or a 700 OPS, I'm fine with that. And those aren't even great percentages. Those are a little below league average, I think, in the case of a 300 on base percentage. But if Trey Sweeney gives me that, that is a hell of a lot better than we've been getting from the shortstops we've been watching, which has been more of a horror movie at the level of the 1972 Exorcist. That's what the Tigers shortstop play has been this year. But do you know what isn't the Exorcist at all? The Lions and their wide receiver and pass catching room. And the reason why I bring that up, I wanted to talk to you about this, Sean Baligian.
All right.
Dan Orlovsky did a list of the NFC North wide receiver rooms and how they rank. He had the Packers at 1, the Vikings at 2, the Bears at 3, and the Lions at 4.
Wow.
And I have to ask you this, Sean. A, is it disrespect? B, should we care? And C, is this list actually fair?
I couldn't stress this enough. I am firmly in the B camp.
Okay.
I don't care. And let me tell you why. And that's no disrespect to Dan, okay? We know what this offense is.
Yeah.
We know. Oh, isn't that odd? You guys got the number one receiving core. Oh, that's so cute. We have easily a guy that's in the top 3 tight ends in the league, might graduate to number 2 in the league. You have 2 different pick-your-poison options in the backfield, and there are competent pieces in the wide receiving unit that make me say, ooh. And this goes back to the conversation that we always have about J-Mo. If you're one of those guys, Flannel, that J-Mo isn't successful unless he has 1,500 yards and 12 touchdowns, I think you're going to be disappointed. I do. You know what? I want J-Mo to fit in and stretch defenses and have, again, an option just like all the other pieces of that guy can hurt you, or KG can hurt you, or Spenny can hurt you. Even Baligian and his bum knee can hurt you. That's what I want. So, honestly, Dan, no disrespect. I couldn't give 2 shits. I like what they have. I like the offensive weapons that they have. And in a perfect world, I'm going to have 8 or 9 guys that are seeing the ball in distribution.
I mean, that's 100% fair. And I see just a fan in the chat. Who cares? And I'm with that sentiment to some extent as well. But you brought up Jameson Williams, and I know people are going to be like, oh, here he goes again. However,
boo, Flannel, boo.
I am not one of those people that thinks he has to get 1,500 yards to be successful this year. I called for 1,000, and I believe it was 1,020 yards from scrimmage and 7 touchdowns. That's fair.
I think that's fair.
That's my stat.
That's fair.
That's my stat prediction for Jameson Williams. But however, though, if you use Jameson Williams and his lack of production so far as justification for why the Lions have the worst receiving core in the NFC North, I can't hate you for that. And that's fair, by the way. Especially considering that the NFC North is pretty stacked when it comes to a wide receiver room. I mean, the Vikings, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, the Bears, right. You've got Keenan Allen, you've got DJ Moore, you've got Cole Kmet, you've got a promising rookie in Romo Dunze. And with the Packers, that's the one I struggle with a little bit. I don't think they're number 1. They've got a lot of solid pieces, but they don't have
They've got 4 number 2s, though.
Yes.
They don't have like a 5-star player.
That's the league today. To me, that's the league today. And that's not a bad thing. Like, I give the Packers, much like we're talking about with the Lions, I'm not going to be a complete slapdick homer. That's not a bad thing. Like, the Packers, they have pieces that can hurt you. And I think that's the name of the game today. You know, in a perfect world, you would have 2 guys that you know, this guy can hurt you, that guy. Like San Francisco, right? I still say, you guys heard me say it 100 times the past couple of years. I think Ayuk is completely underrated, maybe starting to get the love that he deserves now. In a perfect world, you'd have a Debo, you'd have an Ayuk. But you know what? I feel really good about the Lions having multiple guys that can hurt you, Flannel. I really, truly do.
That's fair. And like I said, Jamison Williams, I predict a breakout season for him just like everybody else does. And when you're the Lions and you have Amon-Ra St. Brown and you have Sam Laporta, it's really tough to nitpick your pass-catching targets because it's all pro. And when you compare them to the Packers, they don't have anybody who can even touch Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Thank you.
They don't have anybody that is as good as Sam Laporta yet, although I think one of their receivers will emerge to be number one. We don't know who it's going to be. He has as good a chance as any. More on him a little bit later.
I was so pissed when the Packers got him.
Me too.
If you watched him in East Lansing, you knew he was more than just a gadget guy or a speed guy. He was going up and catching fades in the end zone over Penn State defenders in a snowstorm. Like, the guy was a great wide receiver. I love Jaden Reed. I hope he has a terrible year because he plays for the Packers, but I love the kid, and he is a talented wide receiver.
Yeah, he had himself a great rookie season last year. But I think the overlying thing is, and you said it, just a fan said it, I don't really pay too much attention to these lists that may slight Lions players just a little bit. Maybe I'm unique in that. Maybe I've got thicker skin when it comes to the Lions as opposed to Michigan. I know that's the case, but maybe I do, and I'm not exactly quite sure why. But the Lions are still division favorites. They still got Amon-Ra St. Brown. They still got Sam Laporta. They still have what I believe is going to be a top 5 offense in the league, maybe even top 3, maybe even at its absolute apex, it could be even number 1, and everything is going to be fine. And I don't think any of those teams, the Packers, Bears, or Vikings, regardless of their receiving core or not, are going to overtake the Lions in the division this year. I don't see it happening.
You know what's interesting, too, is I would be pretty content in today's National Football League if across the board you could say things are good. Now, that's not the case with the Lions because I do think that they have an elite offensive line, okay? But if everything is good, if I look at everything positionally, what do you think about the Lions quarterback? He's good.
Yep.
What do you think about the Lions wide receivers? They're good. Tight end, another one. I think that's elite. Defensively, if I'm okay with good across the board because you know what good across the board means? That means you're probably going to win 11, 12 games. Give yourself a good chance to win your division. Give yourself a good chance to have a couple of playoff games at home, maybe even more. So you're right. Sometimes I think this is the time of year. This is crazy month. Whether we all want to admit it or not, we all, like on July 31st, Spenny and I are sitting there going, man, wouldn't it be great if Michigan State won 6 games this year? With that schedule, they can win 6 games. And then all of a sudden you get into mid-August and you're going 9-3, man. Right. And Michigan fans, same thing. Even with all the losses you have, you guys are sitting there going 9-3, I think playoffs. 2, and now you're going, well, why can't we beat Oregon? Why can't we beat Texas at home? And Ohio State, we own Ohio State. Boo, they're bad. Boo,
the
bad
last one
coach.
for sure.
All that. But that's what we do. I'm not going to get worked up over it.
That's fair. And I am very guilty of the whole Michigan thing because I believe they're going 10-2 and Ohio State is a coin flip.
He changed it already.
KG.
Y'all silly, man. No, I'm laughing at some Smitty show. But Burn with the super chat, $5 shout out. If you have 4 wide receiver twos, you have none. It's really cute. I remember when the Lions, after Calvin, ran a platoon system. It's cute.
I see. What? That's Burn. That's not a smart comment.
If you have 4 wide receiver twos, you have none? No, you have 4 good wide receivers. Like,
Burn, I appreciate you for being a loyal member, and I appreciate the super chat, but that was not a smart thing to say. And you know why it's not smart, because whether you like him or not, obviously we don't because they're the Packers. No matter what you think about them, it did work last season. Jordan Love did have a good season. You had 4 receivers who legitimately performed well, and a couple of them performed pretty damn admirably in playoff games.
I got to look something up.
I don't think that was like having 4. This isn't the quarterback. You can have multiple wide receivers. I know you're trying to paraphrase. If you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. But this is different. This is
Can I? I'm going to look this up. I'm going to use what our guy said, and I just want to get this like across the board. Okay. So in 2016, I look back at that team, and I honestly, for me, I say what might have been with that team. I think there was a hell of a lot more potential. But let's take a look at what they had. You had Theo Riddick, who was an absolute threat, right?
Yeah.
You had Golden Tate, you had Marvin Jones, you had Anquan Bolden.
Oh, man. I missed that Anquan Bolden year.
Those
He
were
was good that year.
dangerous pieces, and nobody's going to call any of those guys, oh, he's a 1, he's a 1. I'd take that. I would.
Absolutely.
No, and oh, by the way, we also have Amon-Ra St. Proud. So let's just But I look back and that was a team to me. It was like, and if you remember, they started out 9-4, and I was like, crap. I was working, with the broadcast at the time. I was like, crap, this team's pretty good. And then, like so many seasons, it just kind of fell apart. And then one of the worst playoff games ever, that loss to Seattle. But I don't know. I thought that was a pretty good. Call me a slappy. I thought that was a pretty good crew, right?
No, and you're not a slappy. And DNCENT, he's kind of joking, but Romeo Dobbs is wide receiver 2, Wicks is wide receiver 2, Reed is 2, and Watson is fighting for 2 here. What are we doing? I see you're laughing at that, but I will say this. And in no way, shape, or form am I trying to slurp the Packers or anything like that. However, there are a lot of NFL teams that would murder a family member for that wide receiver core.
Yes.
Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
Factual. Patriots would.
The Carolina Panthers would.
Panthers
we don't know what Bryce Young would do with them. But that's immaterial to this discussion.
Chiefs would.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, for real.
Yes.
That's another Super Bowl. That's a Super Bowl.
The Ravens would.
Yes.
There's a lot of teams that would love to be in the Packers situation.
But the moral of the story is there's no
Mm-hmm.
Amon-Ra St. Brown and there's no Sam Laporta on the Packers.
Yeah.
So there's certainly an argument that the Lions receiving core is still better. But it all depends on how J-Mo performs this year. But you don't want to have these people involved in your life. But if you do, KDK Law, they're the best of the best.
Talk to him, Sam.
Absolutely.
True story.
Yeah.
I'll talk to him, actually, because if you're dealing with divorce or child custody or other family issues, Kevin and Catherine of KDK Law in Birmingham will have your back. 10-plus years of experience and 24/7 availability. Scan the QR code right there or call 248-971-0476. Say Woodward Sports sent you, and KDK Law will cover your filing fee. Make sure you tap in with KDK Law in Birmingham. Kevin and Catherine will do you right.
Don't let her do
Just
it.
to get the heated steering wheel, I also had the spring for the bigger rims.
Yeah, that's how they get you. Those upgrades will cost you an arm and a leg every time.
Hey, new car crew, how'd it go this weekend? I got a great deal on mine.
How?
I went to Randy Wise, not those other guys. They got me in a great new ride, and they didn't break my budget. Hey, could you pass me the sugar?
How?
Never mind.
He made the wise choice.
Yep.
Make the wise choice at randywisechevy.com.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
What happens when you run a great business for over 50 years? You expand and offer more products to more people. This is exactly what Les Stanford did by adding Les Stanford Buick GMC, the same great service that customers have come to know and trust on Woodward Avenue just south of 9 Mile. Check out Les Stanford today in Dearborn at lesstanford.com. Les Stanford Chevrolet, together, let's drive. Welcome back to Big D Energy live on the Woodward Sports Network. We are live from the 6th annual Darren McCarty charity golf outing from the Links of Novi. And as you can hear, our favorite Get Back song from Breaks is on.
Oh, yeah.
The one that we use all the time at these Ramos. Bomb. Bomb, bomb, bomb. Bomb. Hey, sounds like something Justin got down to at Electric Forest or whatever, or however many hundreds of music fests that psycho is at. I love the guy, but he is a fiend for music festivals. But since it's Friday, since we're at the Links of Novi, I don't have the graphics, so you guys are just gonna have to listen really, really close. But I wanted to play a game with every single one of you in the room right now,
Okay,
and you
I
guys
like
and you guys in the chat can join as well. There have been a couple of graphics put out on social media. Remember, you guys know the game Start, Bench, Cut.
Yes.
Yes. Let's play that game with some running backs first. I will start with you, Sean Belegian. Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, Breece Hall. You've got to start one, bench one, cut one, go.
Holy crap.
That's terrible, isn't it?
What was the options?
Gibbs, Bijan, Breece.
Can I hit one with a club and put him on IR?
Yeah.
Of course. I don't know if you can, but.
Jeez, Flannel starting off strong.
Gosh, damn. All right, you know what?
I like it.
Start Breece, bench Gibbs, and you know what? I'll cut Bijan.
That's so tough.
That's tough.
Sorry,
There's really no right answer.
That's tough.
Dude, that's tough.
It was on our social media. And I know I'm stepping into a landmine because if I say anything other than start Breece Hall, people are going to come at me because I defended him against the
I think he's
true.
I agree with you. I think he's solid.
Against the horrific slander from Neil Rule. My goodness, that man hates Breece Hall. And KG,
I don't hate him. I said he's great when he's on the field.
Those nice 17 games and 1,500 all-purpose yards. Yeah,
I'm going to give you more to lean into that narrative. I'm starting Bijan, I'm sitting Gibbs, and I am cutting Breece Hall.
So many Lions haters in this room.
I'm with
sorry,
KG.
man.
I'm doing the same as KG. I'm starting Bijan, I'm benching Gibbs, and I'm cutting Breece.
I thought with my heart, I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just telling you. But I like Breece. I do. I like Breece.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Jumping off a bridge.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
This is a tough one, man.
I would probably start Bijan as well and bench Gibbs and cut Breece Hall. But
look at you.
Wow.
Look at you.
Those are going to be three of the
I'm
top
in the woods
five.
by myself.
No, but Breece Hall, he's so great.
They are going to be three of the top 5 running backs in the NFL next year. There is no doubt in my mind that that's going to happen.
Tough.
Well, and here's
Damn.
And I love Jahmyr Gibbs, and I think he can be the best back in the league moving forward. I really, really do.
Yeah.
I also feel that, though, about Bijan and Breece. And with Bijan Robinson, I'll admit, I'm kind of a stan. I think he gets a little bit too much heat from some of the Lions fans who think that Bijan is not even in Gibbs' stratosphere.
Right.
I think that's absolutely
Arthur
insane.
Smith didn't use him correctly. I don't know what the hell he was thinking.
Yes.
Bijan,
They have one of the best offensive lines in football. It's not as good as the Lions, but Bijan's going to eat this year. I'm targeting him in all formats.
Let's see. Yeah, I want to see. I'm a show me first guy.
Chris Lindstrom is the best guard in the National Football League by a pretty wide margin, I would say. And they've got some nice tackles as well. McGarry, Jake Matthews. They've got some nice pieces on that offensive line. I think Bijan Robinson leads the NFL in rushing yards next year. I
can see it. I can see it.
That's a big show me, man. I'm sorry. And I just cut his ass.
However, Jahmyr Gibbs will be holding up the Lombardi Trophy at the end of the
Hell
year.
yeah.
At least has a bigger chance than a Bijan Robinson. So although they're all three going to be great, that was a really tough question, and it made me think. But let's go to wide receivers really quick, where I think there is a more clear and definitive answer, although some people in the chat are going to do a little bit of this. Slappy. Okay. Start, bench, cut.
Bitch.
You have a start, bench, cut. You have Jamison Williams.
Oh, jeez.
Jordan Addison.
Oh, we know who you could.
Jeez.
We know who
Jaden
you
Reed.
could.
Oh, jeez. That's a good one, too.
You said J-Mo, Addison, and who?
Jaden Reed.
Jaden Reed. Oh, this is easy.
All right. Yep, I'm going for it.
Do it.
I'm going to start Jaden Reed.
Oh.
I'm going to bench Jamison Williams, and I'm going to cut Jordan Addison because he's already hurt, and he runs people over. No, I'm just kidding. He doesn't run people over, but he drives fast. I can't do it. Those are two of my dogs. I can't cut either of my dogs.
I'm going to go the exact same direction. All right, so you guys are talking
really
about so much
Jaden
about
Reed?
what Bijan can do. I feel that way about what J-Mo can do. And if I didn't see what I saw late last season, I think it would be – he had to show something. And in my mind, even for somebody like you, I think he showed what might be. So I had a little bit, and now it was only the sampler plate. Now I'm all in. I want the full meal now in that regard.
Yeah, this is easy for me. I'm going to start Jordan Addison, sit J-Mo, and cut Jaden Reed. And I'm sorry, I know Spartan Dog. I get it. But I just need to see more from this Packers wide receiver room. They are very young. While they are talented, I like what Jordan Addison has brought to the Vikings. And I really just believe in what J-Mo can be. He can be a better receiver than these other two guys within the next season or two.
Pete Spivak in the house.
Pete Spivak in the house.
What up, Pete?
All right.
All right, what are you doing? No, you're not scamming out of this.
Yeah, what do you got?
We know you cutting J-Mo, so just go ahead and give us the other
Are
two.
you just going to cut him?
He going to cut
Out of
J-Mo.
those three, yes, I'm going to cut Jameson Williams.
You suck.
Call me when he has a game where he has 70 or more receiving yards.
I'll call you after week 1.
Okay, fine. Then I will sit right here and I will eat a nice big spoonful of crow. I might even get a
We're
jersey
supposed
at
to be
that.
nice to you today, and you just not helping
Did
that
you know
out.
that? I went like that.
Yeah.
You don't have to be nice. And for the record,
fuck you, Flint.
No, but if we're being honest here, it's not a crazy take by me to cut.
It's not.
No.
Right now.
Cut
In 2
Jameson
years,
Williams.
it's going to look horrible, but right now, it's cool.
And that's fair. And that's 100% fair. But right now, I am starting Addison, I am benching Jaden Reed, and I'm cutting Jameson Williams. I need to see. Of course, I need to see more. My problem is the people who victory lap and put him in the Hall of Fame already.
He's
based
the
on what
GOAT.
he's done.
Have you seen his aura flannel?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Truth is somewhere in the middle.
That does not exist.
Aura is a measurable statistic.
It is.
And J-Mo is exuding aura.
Factual.
No,
Have you seen his training camp footage, flannel?
You can be excited about the training camp footage. You just can't victory
Put him
lap
in the
over
Hall
it.
of Fame for training camp.
There is that glow. You know how you look at those like those old artist renderings of little baby Jesus in the manger, and there's always a glow. You can see, like if you went out to camp, there's a glow around J-Mo
there
right
is.
now. It's real.
He's got aura, flannel.
He's the chosen one.
Right.
That's
You would know if you were at training camp.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. All right, I'm not going to touch that. Skydog722.
You weren't there. How could you know?
Jesus Christ, that was a fun exchange. But anywho, I'm not gonna touch that.
That's fair. You gotta put
Skydog722. Addison was usually only good for 5 catches, 40 yards, and maybe a TD. I got bad news for you. Check out on a per game numbers what J-Mo was good for. You, my friend, are incorrect. I, my friend, am correct so far, but I might be terribly wrong by the end of the year. And I'm ready to eat that because I can admit
Flannel,
when
let's
I'm
do
wrong.
let's do a week 1 bet. Jameson Williams has more yards than Addison if he plays week 1.
Oh, I love it.
Let's do
Coffee
it.
bet?
That's a great bet.
I love it. I
yeah.
love it.
That's a fantastic
It's on
bet.
wax.
That's a great bet.
It's on wax. I'm going to make sure you remember.
Now, do we have to include like total purpose yards?
All purpose,
though?
yeah.
All purpose.
Fair. Detroit.
I like your side, dude.
Yeah, me too.
Detroit supremacy. Stats don't matter. Aura and dog mentality are all that matters. You did that. You did that just for me, supremacy.
Got that dog in him.
You got that dog in him. He certainly. I don't even know if he does though.
Yes, he does. Tell us about Randy Wise before you besmirch the good name of Jameson Williams.
There will be no besmirching. But yes, we are live from the. Let me pull it up really quick. Sorry, fellas.
Get it together, Flannel.
I am getting it together. How would you like to play with a legend like Darren McCarty, Kurt Gibson, Braylon Edwards, or Calvin Johnson?
Would I?
It's the Randy Wise Celebrity Golf Tour. Register today and you can play like a VIP. Go to woodwardsports.com or scan the code on the screen. When it comes to your next car or truck, make the wise decision. Randy Wise Automotive.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage. The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports. Detroit's winning sports network.
Soroki's Crispy Chicken and Pizza is popping up all over Michigan. Locations are going everywhere. They just opened one in Madison Heights. They got the best chicken, New York-style pizza, and biscuits in the game. To find one near you, go to Sorokis.com. It's the best. Like, I wouldn't lie. These biscuits are literally heavenly. So make sure you check. Damn, D-Mac walked out here for sure. All right, make sure you tap into Sorokis.com. Sorokis, now that's crispy.
Hey, it certainly is crispy.
Wow,
And yes,
smells good, D-Mac.
D-Mac certainly did walk by. And,
you already know. Come over here, man.
And hopefully I don't get a contact high, but that's okay. You guys would probably actually enjoy that. But welcome back to Big D Energy, live from Darren McCarty's 6th annual charity golf tournament from the links of Novi.
Hell yeah, Maz.
What a great drop. Maz just walks by and goes, I'm going to go get high.
Yeah, Maz.
You do you, Maz. You do you.
Oh, yeah, Maz.
And DNCENT in the chat. Oh, the things I would sacrifice to see J-Mo put flannel on his ass. I don't blame you. If you guys are J-Mo stans, you're probably not a fan of me right now, but you guys may all end up making me look stupid, and I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. And if he, but all I ask is, this is what I ask. I don't want any victory lapping for him being a decoy. I don't want any victory lapping for him blocking. I don't want any victory lapping for stat lines of 2 catches for 14 yards. That's all I ask.
I think that's fair.
But I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to get it.
No, you're not, because he's going to ball out this year.
Fair.
So he'll be able to victory lap on that. When he's got 120 yards and 2 touchdowns week 1,
talk to
you
him.
can buy me a coffee.
Yo, you can victory lap that all you want, because you would have earned it.
Making Jerry Jacobs burnt toast out there.
Yes, sir. That's a large coffee,
Yeah,
by the way.
that's-
Give my man a
that's-
large.
that's
Don't
actually-
try and play him
Oh,
with a
yeah.
small. You get him a large. Oh, my dog. D-Mac is the man.
Shout out D-Mac. Hook the boys up.
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
Shit. Oh, God.
He brought
he's
over a
like
couple
that.
of markers for those
Shout
guys.
out
They're
D-Mac.
gonna paint some things
Let's
back
go.
there.
24%.
Oh, these are good. I got one before.
Love that.
These are great.
No, and while we've got a few minutes, I gotta go around the room. How concerned should Lions fans be? And I get it, they're not necessarily direct competitors, but they might be that way in the playoffs. How concerned should we be about the Atlanta Falcons? They just made a couple of power moves. They traded for Matthew Judon, they traded a 3rd-round pick, and they signed former Pro Bowl safety Justin Simmons.
I think we should be pretty concerned about the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah,
I look
man.
at them. They now have one of, if not the best secondaries in the NFC with A.J. Terrell, Justin Simmons, and Jesse Bates. You've got a top 5 offensive line in the NFL, a top 3 running back room with Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson. You bring in Spartan Dog Kirk Cousins. You got Michael Penix waiting in the wings, and weapons on the outside with Drake London and Kyle Pitts. They're going to win that division for sure. Like, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
I'd be
it's
stunned
over.
if they did.
Right.
But
I'd be stunned if they
The
did.
Falcons are taking that division, and with Penix in the win, like waiting there, they could be good for a little while here.
They could.
It's going to be very interesting because that definitely could be a team that you face in the playoff.
Yep,
I mean, and, like
absolutely.
all jokes aside, that could be a team that you face in the playoff. And look, I mean, we all know Kirk Cousins, and many of us love him, but you don't know which Kirk Cousins you're going to get.
Yep.
And let's be
Prime
honest.
time
Let's
Kirk,
be honest.
Not so high.
What are people out of sight of Detroit saying? You don't know which Jared Goff you're going to get. Whether we want to admit it
Yeah,
or
that's
not,
true.
people outside of Detroit are saying that. Now, we see him on a week-in, week-out basis, and he's won many of us over. He won me over. He won Spenny over.
He wins in prime time, I'll say that.
So because of that, I have to say, no, I'm not going to drop that anymore. But outside of Detroit, what are people saying about Jared Goff? They're probably saying the same kind of things.
No, they do.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think Jared Goff at this point is clearly better than Kirk Cousins. However, and this is, I want to read this from intern Chase. Falcons are the biggest chokers in all of sports. Worry about the Falcons when hell freezes over and pigs fly.
That's fair. They did have one of the worst chokes.
No, it's not fair. Can I tell you why it's not fair? Can I tell you why it's not fair?
They're going up against Tom Brady's witchcraft.
Not only that, but you know what? It was a completely different thing. We as Lion fans get pissed off with SOL. Okay, I can't call this group of Lions. I can't call this group of Lions the way that I used to call the teams before. Even that 92 team that after 91, we were all like, yeah, man, Super Bowl, we're taking the next step. I think if we're being honest with ourselves, we can't become what we detest.
Yeah.
Because we hate when people say that about us. Let's see what this team has. If they earn that moniker, Spenny, 6 weeks in, if the Falcons are 2-4 and doing Falcon things, well, guess what? If it looks like a Falcon and it walks like a Falcon, I'm going to call it a Falcon.
I hear you, but Kirk Cousins has not done it, man. At least we've seen Jared Goff do it. Do you know how many times Kirk Cousins has choked either in prime time or in playoffs? Well, I think it's safe to say that we need to see it first. But in the regular season, the Falcons will be great. But it's all about what they do once they get past it.
To me, the issue was in his wording, the Falcons are the greatest chokes of all time.
Oh, well, yeah.
And my brain doesn't, I always use the Lions as an example. My brain doesn't work that way. The Golden State Warriors were like the worst franchise. I mean, what a nondescript franchise. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you bring in the right people, you make some good moves, and you can change that. So my brain doesn't work that way.
And that's fair. And I don't think we should be asking the Kirk Cousins versus Jared Goff question. And I know we're not really doing that. The question that I'm asking is, how much better does Kirk Cousins make this team than Desmond Ridder did?
A lot better.
How much better?
A lot better.
How much?
Tenfold.
How much better is Bijan Robinson even going to be? Because people forget Bijan Robinson. Anybody who wants to clown his rookie season, he was the #1 option on that team.
Yeah.
He was good. It's just the quarterback play was so terrible.
Right. And it's cultural suspect.
Absolutely. Arthur Smith, I mean, he's kind of turned into a bit of a joke as a head coach, even though
He looks like he drives a windowless van.
He 100% does. But there was a time where I was, kind of had faith in Arthur Smith, but that didn't age well. But you know what else might not age well? And this is going to shock a lot of people. Given what they added with Matthew Judon, which was exactly what they needed. They needed a pass rush in the worst way. Him and Grady Jarrett as a duo,
That's
I like.
nasty.
And then
It's
you got
really good.
And then you got in the back end Justin Simmons and Jesse Bates. Jesse Bates might have been the best safety in the NFL last year.
Yes.
And Justin Simmons had a little bit of a down year, but he's a perennial Pro Bowler. AJ Terrell, given what they have on offense, which we've been through with like Bijan, Drake
They
London,
don't have
Kyle
Jeff
Pitts.
Okudah anymore.
They don't have Jeff
Right.
Okudah. Don't be surprised if the Atlanta Falcons get the 1 seed in the NFC.
Whoa. Okay. All right. All right. Let's come down a little bit.
1 seed Falcons, the Dirty Birds.
All right.
That's
No,
wild.
you know what? I'm going to get his side for just a second. All right.
y'all,
I want to clarify
It's the
this.
first year of this, by the way.
Listen,
But
I want to clarify this, all right? Do I think it's going to happen? No. But if I'm following your logic correctly,
I got to
okay?
see their schedule.
Look, hold on. Their division versus our division.
I get it.
That's
I
fair.
get it.
Hold
The
on.
South is.
The Niners.
But we're talking about the #1 seed.
The Niners division versus their division. There are built-in losses in some of those. Would you be surprised at all if Atlanta did just go like this to the entire division? And there's like, seriously, would you be surprised at all? So, Flannel, I kind of
pretty easy schedule.
I'm not arguing with you. I don't think it's going to happen, but I understand your logic based on the schedule. I do.
There's only 3 games on this schedule where I'm like, all right, they're going to lose, and that's Eagles, Chiefs, and Cowboys. Other than that, and the Cowboys isn't even all right, they're going to lose.
Yeah.
They're home.
Other than that, I could see them winning. I mean, they got to play every team in the shitty South twice.
That's what I'm saying. Compare the divisions. I mean, there's your wins.
I get it, but we throwing out the San Francisco 49ers. We're throwing out the Eagles. We're throwing, like, all the NFC powerhouses. We're throwing that out for the first year of the Falcons. I get it. They are stacked.
The last 4 games of the year, 5 games of the year, it's the last 7 games of the year. It goes Broncos, Chargers, Vikings, Raiders, Giants, Commanders, Panthers.
And remember, KG,
I'm not 7 in a row.
I'm just not ready to say #1 seed.
I'm not throwing all of those teams in the trash. I'm not throwing the 49ers in the trash. I'm certainly not throwing the Lions
Even
in the
the
trash.
Cowboys in the regular season. I mean, shit.
I'm talking about them all hovering around the 12-5 range. That's what I'm talking about.
Falcons got a cakewalk.
They don't play the Niners. They don't play the Lions. They do play at Philly, which is probably a loss. They don't play the Ravens. They don't play the Bengals. They do play Kansas City at home, which that's actually more of a coin flip. I'm saying it's a coin flip.
Gosh damn it, Flannel, I feel dirty jumping in this bed with you, but does anybody expect the Lions to go unbeaten in the division?
Not at all.
No. Okay.
Oh, well,
In the division?
In the division.
No,
not in the division.
They're
They'll
going to
lose
lose at least one.
One or two.
One or two. One or two.
Okay,
maybe the Bears. But does anybody expect the Niners to go unbeaten in their division?
No.
Okay. Right now, the Atlanta Falcons are in the clubhouse then. Just looking at divisional games.
Yeah, they can,
with a one-game lead.
They could easily go
because I do not see them losing a team in that
We're looking
division.
at talent on paper. I
Gosh
understand.
damn you. You're an idiot.
I understand, man. But for
I
some
hate
reason,
that you brought up an idiotic point that is legitimate.
but the Bucks, they always hang around. The Saints, for some reason, always hang around. I don't know, man. I get it, but number one scene is a little aggressive.
No, it's hard for me. I really mean this. There is no team that could have used Matthew Judon more than the Atlanta Falcons. That is a
by the way.
power move.
Called that.
And then Justin Simmons. I mean, the Falcons, imagine if they would have had marginally good playoff quarterback play last year.
They would have won the division.
They would have won the division.
Yeah.
And they didn't have a pass rush. And they didn't have Justin Simmons.
And
I don't think it's going to happen. But I'm not going to shit on you for bringing up the possibility.
Yeah,
How's that?
It's not the wildest thing.
I mean,
It's
Art
just-
Vandelay, Falcons will go 10-7 at least. At least. What if a couple of those little, coin flip games go their way and they're 12-5? 12-5 might get it done.
It kind of reminds me, and I know I think it's unfair to the Lions in a certain regard, but I've heard people say, well, remember those Lion teams in the 90s? They benefited from the fifth place schedule, and then they would go back. It didn't really work that way because there was playoffs in 93, 94, 95. But that was kind of the mentality. Maybe, just maybe, the Falcons are taking advantage with their upgrades of a less-than schedule.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it might be hard for some people to say that the Falcons could win the NFC next year. That might be hard to say. But what isn't
That's
hard
not happening.
is getting an affordable workout. You can do that at Planet Fitness because Planet Fitness is the home of the judgment-free zone. Get a full-body workout in 30 minutes of the 30-minute circuit. And all memberships include fitness training. You get all of that, or you can upgrade to the Black Card and get use of amenities like hydro massage, total body enhancement, tanning beds, all of that good stuff. As long as you get the Black Card, you can get into any location worldwide over 2,500. Go tap into a Planet Fitness near you or go to planetfitness.com. It's Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola? Really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets?
Nobody!
Detroit sports. Make sure you listen to Ermanni and Edwards with Maz next, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. on the Woodward Sports Network.
Attention sports fans, don't miss out on expert sports injury insights with Dr. Jeff Pierce of Michigan Sports and Spine. Join Dr. Pierce every Tuesday during Big D Energy and Thursdays during Ermanni and Edwards, where he offers top-notch injury advice. Trust the guy that DMAC trusts. Dr. Jeff Pierce is here to keep you in the game and performing at your best. For more information, visit MichiganSportsandSpine.com or call 248-426-9944.
A final segment of the day. We are live from Darren McCarty's 6th annual charity golf outing from Links of Novi. We have had an absolute blast, and it looks like I've really started something. And Chris Ogdahl in the chat, Lions are plus 1,100 to win the NFC. Hey, get rich.
Time out.
Rich.
Yeah.
I'm glad that, Chris, thank you for bringing that up because I wanted to clarify this. I said this during the break. To get his back, he said number one seed in the NFC, okay? Not win the NFC. I think there's a big difference.
Yes.
And I want to make that clarification, and then I present as evidence. I've seen teams fraudulently fall into the number one spot. Tennessee Titans, things like that, where you're like, Well, holy crap! How did they do that? How did they finish 12-4 back in the day, or 12-5 now and become the number 1 seed? And everybody and their damn brother knew there was no way in hell they were going to win the AFC or the NFC. So, in fairness to him, he didn't say represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. You still think it's going to be the Lions, right?
Here's what I will say.
Oh, come on, Flannel. Come on, Flannel.
If the Lions go into Atlanta in a playoff game, I'm picking the Lions.
Okay.
All right.
The only question that I have is going to, if they had to go to Philly, if they had to go to Green Bay, if they had to go to San Francisco. That's what I'm questioning.
I still worry about Philly. I'm with you.
And that's fair.
I do.
But if the Falcons don't get the 1 seed, I think it'll be the Lions. And the Falcons with the 1 seed, as you said, what if they do what the Minnesota Vikings did when they won the division and crap the bed to the New York Giants? I wouldn't be shocked if they did that.
I wouldn't
at
either.
all.
I guess, man.
Kirk Cousins, right?
For all my betting people out there, DNC, ENT, they are the Falcons plus 850 to win 12+ games.
Wow. I would take that
So
cash.
for all my bettors out there.
That's a pretty good bet.
That's a strong number.
I'm
I'm looking at the guys in the corner.
Yeah,
Maz ready to have another plate of food. Look at him. Let Maz eat.
Falcons got a pretty cake schedule, man.
Yes.
I would not mind that.
Oh, man.
And intern Chase, Kyle Pitts should break out this year. I 100%
Kirk Cousins
agree.
feeds tight ends.
I think that guy has gotten way too much slander the
Me
last
too.
couple of seasons. Do you guys like Desmond Ritter? I'll just ask that.
A lot of what is hailed
He
him
was
is
the
not
worst
his
quarterback
fault.
in the NFL last
Desmond Ritter, nobody can have
Desmond
a
Ritter.
17 for 25 for 127-yard game quite like Desmond Ritter, because not only is he terrible, he's just the least dynamic quarterback I've ever seen.
It's a whole lot of nothing. I remember watching that game against the Falcons last year. That was really, at no point in time in that game was I worried.
No.
And the Falcons kind of hung around, if you remember. They were just kind of on the, and so again, the way I was brought up in a game like that, you go, oh, the Lions are gonna blow this, because we saw it so many times.
Yes.
But with that team, there was nothing that worried me about that team. That was like a weird game to watch.
But that team with Matthew Judon, with Justin Simmons, with Kirk Cousins, that's a different story. That's because I 100% agree with your assessment of that, and I'll go even further with the Desmond Ritter thing. Nobody can throw a 3rd and 8 4-yard pass quite like Desmond Ritter. It's just, he was just terrible to watch, and boring. There's nothing more boring than watching Desmond Ritter play the quarterback position. But you know what isn't boring? Being at the Links in Novi and doing Big D Energy with my boys today. Shout out to Darren McCarty. He is like the king of this place today.
Oh, yeah, dude. Shaking hands, kissing babies.
Everybody wants to shake hands with Darren McCarty, and rightfully so. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. We got Ermanni and Edwards with Maz live from this exact same location at 2 o'clock, and then the Woodward Heavyweights from 5 to 7 p.m. starring Chris Platty on the desk today, right?
Nick.
Yeah,
Nick Koloff. Hey, yo, Nick.
Dude, that's going to be a hell
Tailgate
of a
always
show.
wins.
He's a very valiant replacement for Spenmo Rex.
Microwave Nick.
Although nobody can replace the real thing. But have a good weekend, all of you, and join us back on Monday. And for all of our regular Woodward Sports programming, we will see you later. Welp, see you later. A little redundant.
Hi, everybody.